Hello, everybody, and welcome back to General Geekery. With me, as always, is JD. I think
Hello.
figured out how to point the right way. And I hope you've been enjoying our content on Spotlight on Customizers, month-long Spotlight on Customizers. We've had who we had on so far. We've had Mike and Panama on, and next week we're going to have.
We had Jim Godfrey on.
Oh, Jim Godfrey was last week, and then Mike, and then Panama before that, and then we're going to have Think Tank on next week.
Rat Fink.
I think it's Fink. I think it's Think Tank now. I don't think he's using Rat Fink anymore. He rebranded.
Sure.
But we're going to take a break from Spotlight on Customizers this week to introduce and talk to a buddy of mine, John Shaw.
Hello, everyone.
And thank you for joining us, John.
Oh, thank you for having me.
John and I worked together in Ukraine, in Luhansk, kind of behind the line of contact there in Eastern Ukraine a number of years ago. And I didn't know it at the time, but John is a big G.I. Joe fan and collector as well.
And I know that because of the t-shirt he's wearing.
Exactly. So I had no idea you were collecting G.I. Joe when we were working together.
Yeah, no, I didn't really talk about myself very much over there. I think the biggest thing I gave away was when I said something about your tattoo that looks remarkably like my t-shirt. That's about as much as I gave away.
Yeah, because I've got a Ashikagi tattoo.
As do I.
Yep.
In fact, I was there when Brian got his Arashikage tattoo.
Nice,
My tattoo artist did his Arashikage tattoo.
That's right. 2009.
Yeah, you were visiting, and we wanted to go get tattooed, so my artist did that. So
what got you into collecting as a kid?
As a kid, I did not collect, as recently evidenced by what's left of my childhood vamp.
That's not much.
No, that is all that is left of it. It's not even as much as my childhood thing.
Oh yeah, you're stunned.
Stunned. Yeah, that's all that's left of that.
you could sell that gun and that seat on eBay for exorbitant amounts of money. I'm sure you could try. I mean, just list it, say this is my childhood stun, and you know what, put a buy it now of like 85 and see if somebody buys it, because my god, the price of vehicles on eBay is
ridiculous. Yeah,
it really is.
Yeah, I've got a triple T as well. I'd have to probably give that one away, but yeah, no, as far as collecting, I didn't until I had a close personal tragedy about it was 11 years ago, 12 years ago, and going through some of the stuff, I found our toys. Yeah, so the ones that were like the vamp and the stun, and I've got a Sky Striker, and I've got lots of them in boxes in peanuts that aren't ever going anywhere. My son's already said he wanted them, and then I realized that I missed all that stuff, so I started fixing the Star Wars toys.
Star Wars collector then too.
Oh yes. But given what has happened over the last 5 years, 6 years, I don't even think about Star Wars anymore. I have them. I have a nice collection that I'm never going to give away, and my son wants to inherit. But my focus has been G.I. Joe because it hasn't been as mistreated in the last few years as some of my other childhood memories.
Gotcha.
And I realized that I still had almost all of the original 82 run, including my straight arm Snake Eyes over there.
No kidding.
Oh yeah.
Nice. I got one of those from a buddy of mine. Actually, Yeah, I think I was still working in Ukraine. A buddy of mine, not a buddy of mine, a friend of the family, sold me a bunch of stuff, and there was an 82 Snake Eyes in there.
Nice, nice. Yeah, so I just started putting that collection. It started by pulling out, cleaning up, and restoring the figures, but not the vehicles. The vehicles, like I said, are packed up in plastic and peanuts, just being stored because there's memories in that broken plastic that I didn't want to fix.
Understandable.
But as far as the figures, they got new bands, cleaned up as best as I could. And then I started replacing the vehicles one at a time with the ones that I knew that I had.
Mm-hmm.
And once that was done, I started buying the ones I wanted and never got. Except, of course, for the flag, because I don't even have a place for that.
Yeah, that's a tough one to get. Not necessarily a tough one to get.
It's a tough one to get home. Money. It's a tough one to get home.
Yeah, it's from a guy who got 2 for the price of 1.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, that was some per diem money from Ukraine for sure.
Nice.
I was over there. I think it was shortly after you left, and then found a guy here in town that had it on a marketplace on eBay or on Facebook, and it'd been up there for years. Because I looked at it a couple times, like, So I messaged him and I'm like, hey, I'm overseas right now in Ukraine, but I'll be home in like a month. Would you hold one of these for me? Because he was offering 2. He's like, yeah, sure, not a problem. So my wife and I went over there, and I'm like, because he had one that was 80% complete and one that was 100% complete. And he had a couple Sky Strikers and some other stuff. And he's like, the wife just wants it out of the garage. He says, I'll give it all to you for that. What the asking price was for the complete one.
Wow.
Like, sold.
I mean, lucky for you, but what did he do to deserve that?
Right? Yeah, I don't know that he wanted him anymore either. So yeah, his misfortune was definitely my gain.
Is he still married now, or
I don't know. I haven't talked to him, so it wasn't.
Yeah, okay.
Haven't seen him in the community, and I had never seen him before or since. So
have a pretty good idea where that went then.
Yeah.
But I emptied the garage.
Yeah, exactly.
That'd be hard. I don't know what it would take. I'm facing that now, looking at building and moving 2 families into one house, and she's like, what all of this are you going to bring? And I said, all of it. But there's no room, so we'll make room. We'll find a place.
Yeah,
it's coming.
Yeah, definitely. I wouldn't get rid of my stuff again. I got rid of a bunch of my childhood stuff, and then my comic book collection once, and I won't do that again at all.
Yeah, we have actually a storage building on the corner of this property that had an original 1980 stand-up arcade game in it. Somebody saw it from the road, pulled over, looked in, saw everything that was in there, and now I have none of it.
Oh,
it was that was a bad day, but yeah, that experience adds to the fact that no, it's all going with us.
God damn it, Alice. Jeez, she's barking at the wife.
Sorry, I terrified our dog by existing in
Yeah.
too.
Excellent. Goddamn dogs. So what vehicles are you going after right now?
At the moment, none. I've got right now I'm looking at doing weird things like buying a Black Series ATST and turning it into a G.I. Joe vehicle.
Oh, you're gonna be customizing then, are you?
Me? No. I'm not to the level you do, more like using the airbrush I have for leather, which is not a painting airbrush, and just making it olive drab and then getting stickers to put on to make it look like a G.I. Joe vehicle. I saw a picture of one online and I thought, oh, that'd be fun. And it may be a step into that area, but nothing to the level you guys are doing.
No, that still sounds like a pretty cool project though. I'd like to see that actually.
Yeah, I saw a picture of one online and it really made me want to get one, and my son saw it and he said, yeah, that's pretty cool. So That seems to be the way we're going to be going now, finding weird things.
Sometimes I think those are the coolest projects, though. You know?
Yeah, I saw someone did a like R2's head did the vacuum metal onto the X7. I can't remember the swept wing plane from G.I. Joe. So it was a mirrored metallic plane, and then it had all the correct stickers on it. It was amazing.
Man, yeah, no, I haven't seen that at all.
Yeah,
but
it was on. Michael French bought it in Australia at a Joe convention in Australia.
Sweet. That vac metal stuff is something that I would be curious to learn how to do. I don't think it's particularly easy, but I think it's pretty cool.
It is. I just don't know if I'd want to invest, because I don't know if there's that much of a market for it.
You know,
since I don't do it for a living.
Right. There's a real cool page that JD and I belong to. It's Star Wars Bootlegs.
Okay.
Check that out on Facebook. Those guys do stuff like that. It's just they like cast up some of the 5-point articulation figures, and they cast
really?
in really weird colors and
weird part combinations, and the Cantina Aliens, the original 5 Cantina Aliens, seem to be that's a big custom. Like, I've seen those all the different ways and different colors and different, like, that makes in fact, somebody was making life-size prints of the heads of the Cantina Alien, like vintage Greedo. There was the picture of the Greedo figure and a life-size print of the same head and hands up. So it still had the hands posed like this.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was just life-size prints of just so. And then there's, because these guys that do the casting and stuff, they'll do these parts and they'll do weird. Like, there's a guy who does all these Bosk combinations with all different toy lines. He puts Bosk parts on everything and just casts them. And then, God, I saw, Brian, you've seen pictures of that weird multicolored Boba Fett that Hasbro did as some kind of convention exclusive. Well, somebody did a custom that I saw the other day of the Slave One in the same multicolored parts that the Boba Fett figure was, and selling it as part of some kind of fundraiser or something. So it was like a psychedelic Slave One to go with the psychedelic prototype Boba Fett. I'm like, holy shit, that's cool.
Yeah, stuff they do on them. Those guys are really talented. I mean, they're casting stuff up in like galaxy translucent fig colors, and just check that site out. You might.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, there's a squad of stormtroopers I saw pictures of. They're all in rainbow colors, but they're all translucent metallic plastic. And there's a guy who does all these glow in the dark castings and things. I'm like, holy shit. I would never have the patience for casting, but if I was going to, I'd probably end up doing some weird shit like that too. Like, there's a guy who does astromech droids in every color under the sun, but he'll mix the parts that are like was it Bob from the Black Hole that with R2D2?
Yeah.
Or it's like it was R2D2, but with like Bob stickers, and then Bob with like R2D2 stickers, and I'm like, how these people come up with this stuff? But it's, I don't know, it's pretty cool.
I don't know where they would find the time to come up with that stuff.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't know.
That's the creativity to do it.
Yeah, that's the thing, and some of it looks so simple, but it's not. I mean,
yeah, you start to think about what it took to get that part onto that character, and wow, yeah.
Some of it.
My favorite was, this was a few years ago. There was somebody had taken Admiral Akbar, and in fact, he's one of our fellow Joe community members, Nova.
Yeah, that's who I got my Defiant from.
Yeah, he takes all these like Admiral Akbar, and he's managed to fuse the parts with GI Joe parts, so they have GI Joe articulation, but it's got Admiral Akbar's head and Admiral Akbar's flipper hands, and like he sells them in different colors or whatever. And I'm looking, and I'm just like, I'm just fascinated by it. I'm like, I don't know what the impetus was to create this, but man, that's cool. It makes me long to see somebody do like Admiral Akbar and Squid Head castings in like colors of like realistic earth fish. And I mean, like, let's just bring the joke all the way around.
Oh, I like that. That's a good idea.
Like,
fish
well,
or something.
Kind of reminded me of in The Mandalorian when they go to that planet with like the Mon Calamari, the Admiral Akbar people, and there's the fisherman, and he's wearing the cable knit fisherman sweater.
Irish sweater, yeah.
Yeah, and I'm just like, all right, so they've really just brought the fishing thing to a whole new level of meta. I'm like, all right, I love that. I love that.
That'd be the most forgiving way to look at that. Yeah.
Pretty cool. So you watched The Mandalorian then, John?
I did, yes.
Are you looking forward to the book of Boba Fett?
No.
Why?
because and I hate to correct you, but it's not Slave One anymore. It's Fire Spray.
Well, it was always the Fire Spray class ship.
But now it's just Fire Spray.
Yeah, but only on the toy packaging. Within the universe, it's still the Slave One. It's just for marketing purposes. They're calling it the Fire Spray. But yeah, there was always the class of ship that he used for his the Jango Fett used for his bounty hunter vehicle. So
yeah, it was a little annoying that they changed it. That
no, the Fire Spray has been around. That it was named the Fire Spray back in the early 90s.
It was not named the Fire Spray. It was a Fire Spray class.
Ship class was the Fire Spray.
It was named Slave One because
the Slave One has been its name since 1980. But
now the bad guy can't be a bad guy, so he's got to because he's popular. So they got to change the name of his ship or take the name of the ship off of it.
Yeah,
it's frustrating the choices they're making and the way they try to sell them to us. That's my issue with that, and they hire writers that can't write. But that's my biggest issue, that they're making choices that make no sense to me.
Yeah, it's all that PC culture. It kind of goes a step too far sometimes, I think.
Yes. It is what it is. My issues with the Rise of Skywalker have nothing to do with PC. It has everything to do with that movie being a disaster.
All three of them were walking the line of disaster. Rise of Skywalker, Last Jedi pushed Luke off into the disaster, and then
I adore The Last Jedi. I adore that movie.
Oh my god,
I love that movie.
I'm very sorry.
Yeah, no, I couldn't. I watched that and I was like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah, Brian and I agreed to disagree on that one years ago.
I told her to go see that, and she's like 5 minutes in, she's like, I'm done. I'm not invested in this movie.
Yeah, I stayed for my kid, and halfway through it, I realized that they really have no idea what they're doing, how they're the way they're writing this. They have no clue of what they're doing to send an African American and Asian American characters to a planet with slavery, free the horses, and say, well, that's what this is all about, leaving the kids in slavery who will probably get beaten because they allowed the horses to get out, and once the horses are rounded back up, they're going to have to kill them all because now they've got a taste. It's just, you can't make headcanon to fix something like that.
Yeah,
so it was just off the rails. By the time a force sensitive caught a lightsaber and defeated a dark side user who had also just been shot, according to the rules of the Sith, making him stronger, That it was just off the rails, in my opinion.
Yeah, I did not like it either. I was like,
And then Rise of Skywalker embraced the darkness and just rolled off into the abyss.
yeah, I wasn't a fan of that movie either. I've seen both of them once, and those are the only two movies from Star Wars that I've only seen once.
Exactly. Yeah. Rise of Skywalker was just a fetch quest video game, moving as fast from one quest to the next to keep you from thinking about anything that's actually happening.
As a person who lives with attention deficit disorder every day, I'm like, nope, I can't take this movie. It reminds me too. Nope. I'm like, nope.
Yeah.
They had 55 different ideas for this movie, and they decided to put all 55 of them in.
All
I'm
56.
like, oh my God, who edited this movie? This is a disaster. I can't. No. No, I draw the line at that one.
Hi, everybody.
Oh,
And
whoa,
we have
sorry.
Timothy Ward join.
What the hell?
Retro Blasting's after show decided to self-start. Sorry.
Gotcha.
So wait, what other figure? Okay, I see Recondo, Gung Ho, Spirit, Beachhead, and who is that Chuckles?
I have two Snake Eyes.
Is it?
Two Snake Eyes. Brian and I have gone back and forth about this. It's Chuckles, but it's two Snake Eyes.
It's two Snake Eyes.
The 1 year there was no Snake Eyes in production, 87 was the year Chuckles was produced. And then after in 88, when Snake Eyes came back, there was no more Chuckles.
Well, technically Chuckles supposed to get a version 2 back in the DEF. Mace was turned into, that was supposed to be Chuckles.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it was supposed to be Chuckles, and then they made him into a new character. Because if you look at the figure real close, like the face is the same, hair color's the same, hairstyle's different, but I'm like, yeah, that, and he's an undercover specialist. I'm like, why the hell wasn't this just Chuckles? I don't know. But then I don't know why Battlecore Leatherneck wasn't just Recondo either. But
right.
Whatever.
Because Hasbro makes good choices.
They don't. There's so many choices in the vintage line that I look at. I'm just like, what? But there's I don't know. You can't go wrong with. You said you cleaned. So those are your childhood figures.
Snake Eyes is. Chuckles is not.
Okay, and then the other ones aren't.
Beachhead, Gung Ho, and Spirit are. Recondo is not. Recondo was lost in a jungle mission in Valdosta in 1989, and Outback is original. The All Striker is not.
Got your flashlight for your Outback?
I do. It's in his bag over in the case, but I do have all of his accessories. I even have I do have that with me. I even still have Chuckles pistol.
Nice.
I remember my friend and I, we were outside of my grandparents' house when we were kids, and I put ripcords. It wasn't ripcord's parachute because he didn't have a working parachute, but it was one of those mail-away ones.
Yeah.
And I put the backpack and I threw him up in the air. It ended up in the gutter or something, and never to be seen again. Because remember seeing it go into the gutter or seeing it fly to that part of the roof. And then at some point, my grandfather, like shortly after that, got up on the roof and was looking for it, and no sign of it. There was no sign of that figure at all. So I don't know if it hit the roof and rolled up, but yeah, he never found it. There was no sign. I'm like, well, poor Ripcord, that was his last mission. Yeah. And now on this podcast we've talked about before where Footloose ended up. He's in the cement of the driveway in the house that I live in right now. He's been there since I was 10 years old when that driveway got repaved and we were visiting. My grandparents lived here and now I live here. Nice. And yeah, so I'm like, well, someday in the future they're gonna dig this driveway up and they're gonna find what's left of my Footloose figure.
Yeah, I have Exact same story about a die-cast X-wing that's in the front porch.
So no amount of force power was gonna pull that out of the cement.
Yeah.
Thanks, Yoda. Taught me to do something I can't do, apparently. Brian, did you ever lose any figures permanently from?
I was just gonna say that. I was just gonna say I think I'm the only kid that never lost any of my figures. I don't think I ever took mine outside, and if I did, I only took like one or two at a time. So I don't think.
Man, I'd bring them all outside, and
yeah,
all of their hair reflected the amount of times I played with my toys, because I swear to God, half of them only had there were paint rubs on their hair. There were figures that they had lost the paint of their hair early on, and until we had the internet years later, and I'd see the pictures on Yo-Joe, and I'm like, oh, that's what that figure looked like with hair. I didn't remember, because like Mercer and Red Dog, both of their hair was almost completely, right around the hairline where there's a groove where there's the sculpting would have the hair, but the rest of it was almost completely rubbed off. So a lot of the paint details where I'm like, oh, that's what those figures used to look like. I just remembered having mine, and I'm like, I love my toys. I really like, I'd play with my vehicles until there was nothing. Like the Mamba, it had a broken, had one half of each of the rotors was like broken in half. So yeah, it didn't affect me. I still played with them until they fell apart. So
my Dragonfly had no skids, no missiles. The turret gun was gone. It had no canopy, but I was still playing with it. You
know what? My Dragonfly didn't have the skids anymore either. Now that you say that, I didn't care. It didn't matter. It landed just fine anyway.
Exactly.
I mean, countless times I'd open the packages and I'd lose accessories right away. In 1990, when they had all those figures with all those little tiny intricate accessories that they started coming with, I'm like, yeah, I don't even know what that was like. I lost half of them when I opened the figure. So there were accessories that my figures never even got to use it before they were gone. So
yeah, most of the accessories I have are some weird shade of blue because they came in the accessory packs.
Yeah,
the replenishment packs. Yeah,
so many of my figures only had the accessory pack, guns and helmets, and my crankcase figure for years only had the brown accessory pack helmet. I had forgotten that he didn't even have his original helmet till I saw pictures years later. I'm like, oh yeah. So the good old days.
Have you gotten any of the retro figures that are supposedly at Walmart, John?
No. I got some of the classifieds. I got the classifieds that I wanted.
I was asking you what you thought about the classified series, because that tends to be a sticky subject for the like older G.I. Joe fans.
Yeah, I like the anime cartoon when it came out.
Okay, Renegades, was that Renegades, JD?
Renegades, and there was another one that was based around.
Before that, there was Resolute.
Yeah. It was based around Snake Eyes, and it was very anime. So these 6 inchers classifieds I actually like, especially the Scarlet and Snake Eyes, because they remind me of that anime show that I enjoyed. When it was on. So I don't have see. There's good ways and bad ways to reissue toys, and if you're gonna redesign the toy before you reissue it, don't try to sell it as the 3 3/4, like a reissue of what you love, because it's not. Doing it in a 6 inch was perfect for me, because they weren't trying to replace memories; they were trying to add to the memories with something new.
Gotcha. Okay, that's good. What classified figures did you pick up?
I have Scarlet, Snake Eyes, Roadblock, and what the fuck's his name? Hawk. I mean Duke.
Duke. Okay.
Which Roadblock? The first one that they put out?
Both of them. The jungle, the island one.
Okay. All right.
As well as the original. Yeah. Roadblock was always one of my favorites because when in 82 I lived in East Point, my next door neighbor spoke in rhymes and liked to carry around a big stick. So Roadblock has always reminded me of that neighbor from back then that I had until 1985.
Nice. All right.
So he's always been one of my favorites.
Yeah, there's a third or fourth version of it out now that JD's probably reaching for right now. That's a very good likeness of the original. Is that Roadblock come out in 83 or 84? The original one.
I want to say 83.
84.
Oh, it was 84?
Yeah.
I was gonna say 83, but it sounded right. But yeah, I think it's I kind of really, I'm not a big I liked Roadblock as a kid. I liked that was my first like version 2 figure was Roadblock because I really liked that figure. But yeah, the classified Roadblock, the new one, is that an Amazon exclusive, I think?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm almost tempted. I kind of wish I'd gotten in on the pre-order, but
I pre-ordered it when Brian told me it was available for pre-order. So I pre-ordered it, and boy, am I glad I did, because I got it last week, but I kind of figured it was going to be one of those things that was going to be more widely available than it was. But no. So I'm not crazy about the minigun. I mean, it's okay. I mean, it's closer to, but I'm not a big fan. I kind of want to get one of those 3D printed 50 cals that they're selling like on Etsy and whatever. I kind of want him. If he's gonna be carrying around a big ass gun, I kind of want him to have his classic Madus. But I mean, this one's okay, but I mean, it's a lot cooler than the Cattle Prod or whatever the hell that was the first classified figure had. But
yeah, I didn't like they're like Nerf guns. That's kind of my big complaint on the classified stuff is a lot of their weapons just like look like Nerf.
I mean, I don't mind the sci-fi look of some of them because that's always been the thing with G.I. Joe, but they're not. Some of them just have weird details for the sake of having weird details, which a lot of the vintage guns did too. But a lot of the classified guns, like some of the ones the Cobra Troopers came with, and they just remind me of. They don't remind me in the look of the Battle Force 2000 weapons, but in the spirit of them. And I'm just like, I look at them, I'm just like, why? Why? Just why? I look at all the weapons that the Battle Force 2000 guys came with, and I'm just like, why? Why the hell? I know they were supposed to look futuristic, but they just come off looking goofy.
But it's because Hasbro makes good decisions.
Right? Yeah, that's so I'm seeing a theme here, and it's with your stuff, and it's G.I. Joe. I mean, like G.I. Joe, there's no Cobra here. So are you a Cobra fan at all? Or
I have Destro, Cobra Commander, Hooded Cobra Commander, Baroness, and that's about it. I don't really do much army building.
Gotcha. Yeah, I was just curious because there's definitely some fans that are like very hardcore G.I. Joe and Cobra's bad guys, and we don't like the bad guys. And there's definitely guys like myself who are big Cobra fans.
I've always been on the Joe side of things. I mean, I've got plenty of Cobra, and when I army build Cobras, it's because I'll usually get a trio of them, at least the little ones, not the 6-inch ones. I have one of the infantry guys. I don't even like that figure that much. I'm definitely not getting the second one.
Yeah, Cobra lost me when the bats came out. I think that was my first bad taste of the CGI army that can be wiped out and nobody cares because they're not real. I think that was the first bad taste of that kind of thing for me, even though I couldn't put a description to it. And yeah, I've got the
it wasn't a bad taste, it was a bat taste.
Bat's taste, yeah. Yeah, no, I've got the Cobras that I want, and that's it.
What's your thoughts on Zartan?
At the time when he first came out,
just curious.
At the time when he first came out, something was off about it to me, but all my friends were absolutely in love with this weird talking chameleon character, but something just struck me. I've never been a fan of them or of him or his little friends.
Dreadnoks.
Yeah, none of that ever appealed to me.
Yeah,
They were funny because they were dumb.
Fan of the Dreadnoks at all. Never have been.
Yeah, because it was I think other than Blowtorch, it was the first step away from an army. Like up until then, everything looked like it came out of the army. Everybody looked like they had a job and did have specific jobs to do within a platoon or squad or company, and that was the first major step out of that arena, and that's why it never really appealed to me. But all my friends absolutely loved them.
Oh, it was a cool gimmick as a kid, with the change.
Oh yeah. The chameleon could take on any disguise, and the character changed color, I think.
Yeah.
And then his twin siblings came out later, and they had the
scar. Yeah, Tomax and Zaymot.
No. They were his twin brother and sister, Xandar and Zarana.
When did that happen?
The 1986.
Really?
Yeah, the figures had the same color changing skin gimmick, and yeah, I always liked them more than the rest of the Dreadnoks, except for like Thrasher, and I can't really explain why on Thrasher, but the rest of the Dreadnoks, they're there. I acknowledge their place, but I don't care. There's a lot of wish lists now that have Dreadnoks for the classified line. I'm like, no. I mean, Zarana's on the rumored list, but Xandar's not, and that irritates the shit out of me. Because in my opinion, you can't have one without the other, but whatever. And as for the Crimson Twins, Tomax and Zay, fuck those characters. Tomax and Zaymot, I hate those characters. I didn't like those characters when it was a goofy gimmick when I was a kid. I don't like those characters now either.
Yeah, kid birthday parties back then.
I don't know which one is which. One has a scar, one doesn't. I don't know which one is which. I can't ever keep it straight. I've seen it. I mean, I've looked at him and I've seen that, but in my head I can't ever keep him straight. One has his hair going this way, one has his hair going that way, one has a scar, one doesn't. I have no idea. I don't care. They're circus clowns, in my opinion. Whatever they actually are, I don't care. I don't like those characters. I never have. I never will.
Birthday parties back then was always excitement until you saw Tomax or Zaymot, and then there was immediate depression because everybody realized that they just took the place of a Joe you wanted, and now you're not going to get as much as you could have because they bought that crap. And
yeah, I can see that. I had them as a kid, but I don't remember what I used them for. I think I gave their pistols to somebody else because they were.
Oh, Brian froze.
I mean, there are characters that as I've gotten older, I've taken more of an appreciation for, like Copperhead. I don't know why. Like, I'm much more enamored with Copperhead now than I ever was when I was a kid. But Wild Weasel's the same way. When I was a kid, I could not have given one shit about that character. But it's like I really like him now, but he seems to be a character that's been kind of forgotten about. Major Blood. Brian and I are both big fans of Major Blood.
Yeah.
But
he would have, for me, he would have been good if he hadn't been quite so camp.
Yeah, he was pretty campy in the cartoons,
but he was much better in the comic than in the cartoons.
Yeah.
In the comic, he killed General Flag. I mean, that's pretty badass.
Yeah, and he didn't have that voice. Nor did he mince around with the rest of the Cobra soldiers as they were running away in the comics.
I'm a huge Major Blood fan. I liked how he was portrayed in the comic books. I was not a fan of him in the cartoon, but man, you read his file card, he's a fucking badass.
Oh yeah.
I do like the classified figure of that character. They did do a good job with that.
So what? All right. So you got into Joe. I mean, you had someone when you were a kid, but you got into them later. But what were your other franchises when you were a kid?
Oh no,
Whether they hold up now or not.
I had 12-inch dolls before I had the 3 3/4. I was
like the original Joes.
Yes, I
nice.
think I had two or three. I remember I had mossy head. You could look at one with the mossy hair, and I know I always confused the $6 million man with the GI Joe up until I realized
Mike Power. They were easy to get confused. I get it.
Yeah. So I think it was either 2 or 3, and one of them may have been a $6 million man. I can't remember. But in '82, looking back on everything that happened and looking at pictures from Christmases and birthdays, it was very clear that my parents wanted us to have the childhood they didn't. So I had everything from the '82 run in '82.
Nice.
So that's looking back on what I had and what I destroyed in my childhood, I feel really bad about it. But it is what it is. That ended in about '86, and up until then it was Star Wars. As far as other franchises, it was Star Wars and GI Joe, and I got a lot of wrestling figures. I had all the big rubber WWF guys and a lot of
I remember those. I remember. I didn't have any of them, but I liked them, and everybody I went to school with did have some. So it was kind of one of those things where I didn't necessarily need to have any because I had access to most of them. I could play with most of them.
Well, we were told they were indestructible, so we took that as a challenge and tied a rope around Paul Orndorff and threw him out the back of my grandmother's station wagon and drug him down 75 South going to Valdosta one summer. They are in fact destructible. And I had some of the Remco AWA guys and Remco's NWA guys as well.
Okay.
I found when I went through and was looking through what got left up in the storage building, I found a lot of sectars that I had no idea I had.
Oh wow, that's kind of like secretly slowly coming back too, because there's
that's one of those properties that if it was not for the internet, I would have no memory of those at all. I don't think I had them when I was a kid. I don't remember ever seeing them when I was a kid. I don't remember any of my friends ever having them. It seems to be one of those nostalgic properties that if it wasn't for like things like the revival on Kickstarter or whatever, I don't think I ever would have remembered them. I have no idea what the point of them was. I mean, bug people. I don't know.
Yeah,
they made no impact on me when I was a kid.
I have no memory of owning them, but I have them, so clearly I did. I also had the Lone Ranger series and some of the Clash of the Titans and Buck Rogers from back then.
Yeah, that would have to be one of my grails is the Starfighter from Buck Rogers.
Oh, the one that they don't fit in.
Yeah, they don't.
You can get him in it. It's just very disappointing once you do.
Gotcha.
What scale were those figures? Were
they were 3 3/4.
They don't.
But the Starfighter was for a 3-inch figure.
Force them. Oh, I wonder if it was something that they made it for a different toy line, and they just they ported it over to the.
I think the Starfighter was actually designed for a different series, a different company, and then they brought that design over when they decided to go 3 3/4, so they could compete with Star Wars like everybody else did. They just didn't upscale the Starfighter. I think that's how it went down.
It's probably too expensive to upscale it, so they just sold it and figured.
But
nobody's gonna care.
Like everything else, fans are doing the best work, and there's now, I can't remember his name, but like Smith Lord, who does the Star Wars figures they never made but you always wanted. There's a guy who makes a Starfighter now, as well as the Battlestar Galactica gunship.
Oh, really? I didn't see
the characters. Yeah.
Somebody posted that Starfighter recently, and I'm like, holy shit, that looks amazing.
Yeah.
So, I've seen that Starfighter.
Yeah, and I can't remember the name of the Battlestar Galactica ship, but he's making those as well. Vipers, that's right.
Yeah.
So he's making
No
those.
idea.
As well.
I haven't seen that 1/18 scale Viper at all. There's somebody that I've been watching, and the pre-orders just closed, I think last night. I was really tempted to get in on it. Somebody's 3D printing a kit for Airwolf for 1/18 scale.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And it looks amazing.
That was about a helicopter, right? That's as far as my memory of that goes. Oddly enough, it's weird because you'd think that would have been the show that my dad would have watched because it was right up his alley, but I don't remember it ever being on. I remember being at somebody's house once and it was on because I remember hearing the music and thinking, oh, that's cool. And then seeing the helicopter and that's cool and thinking, well, Wild Bill should be flying that, but whatever. Yeah, it seems like a show that would have been right my dad's wheelhouse, but no, I don't remember watching it.
Just wasn't a very good show.
It's funny you should say that because I went back and started watching some of those, and I'm like, yeah, it really didn't hold up. The pilot episode, if you're gonna watch one thing, watch the pilot episode. The pilot episode is like a 2-hour movie, and it is fantastic.
Yeah,
great
memories of all these shows, and you go back to watch them and like, why did they let me watch Manimal? How could someone
what
let
the hell
watch
is Manimal? I don't even remember.
It's about a dude that could turn into animals.
Yeah. But yeah, no, Airwolf kind of did the Dukes of Hazzard thing, and the actors got into kerfluffle with the studio, and in like the third season, I don't remember what season was with Dukes of Hazzard, but in the third season, they got rid of the main stars and I think Ernest Borgnine stayed on, but they got rid of Jan Michael Vincent and brought in his brother, who that was like the whole premise was him looking for his brother who was MIA. Yeah. Brought him back and then
wait a minute, hang on.
Wow.
In the show, in the story, he's looking for his brother, and then later on in the show, he goes away and they bring the missing brother in as a replacement to be the main character on the show.
Yep.
What? Why? Did they explain that he'd been found?
Then he got canceled from network, and
that's
Turner picked it up. Turner picked it up, put it on.
Yeah, and Jan Michael Vincent was not the best actor, but it was the equivalent of bringing Frank Stallone in to replace Sylvester, and it just dropped off precipitously once that happened.
It was horrible.
That's funny. Yeah, I don't remember the show, but that's funny. I did see pictures of that custom that somebody's printing up. That is pretty cool.
The Airwolf.
Yeah.
The helicopter itself was amazing.
Yes. Yeah. No, if you're gonna watch one thing, watch the pilot episode, and then you're, because it's all stock footage after that. I mean, they reused all the flight scenes in every episode are stock footage from the pilot.
Yeah.
Oh, it's kind of like watching the original Star Trek where there's only so much footage of the Enterprise.
No, worse than that.
Oh,
because there's always a one or two climactic fight scenes in each episode, and they're all stock footage from the pilot.
Damn.
Yeah.
So wow. After the pilot probably had a big budget, and the show after that probably did not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But no, yeah, it was fantastic. Well, the pilot was but yeah, it's funny what when you go back, like John said, when you go back and look at this stuff and see what holds up and what did not.
You know what doesn't hold up? Knight Rider. A few years ago, I put that on. It was on in reruns, and I'm like, oh my God, was this show always this boring? Why did I watch it? My mother said I'd watch it all the time when I was a kid, and I'm watching this. And now, mind you, I wasn't 40 yet, but I was well into and I'm watching this, and I'm like, how the hell did I watch this when I was a kid? Nothing's happening. And David Hasselhoff, you know what? I don't care what he's not that cool. No. But I'm like, if it wasn't for William Daniels doing the voice of that car, I don't think anybody would have cared about that show, honestly. I mean, the talking car was cool, but I'm like, I'm watching this, and I'm like, wow, this, man, I was into it when I was a kid. I do not.
I don't think I ever was into Knight Rider. Luckily,
But no, I watched it every weekend or every week. You know, it's when I think back on that, it's like the vehicles from those episodes that I would love to have.
Yeah.
In 3 3/4 inch. I'd love to have a kit in 3 3/4 inch. I'd love to have an Airwolf in 3 3/4 inch. I'd love to have a Blue Thunder, which
What
was
the hell's a Blue Thunder?
it's a it was a movie in the 80s. Roy Scheider was in the movie that they turned into a TV series. It was about basically an Apache attack helicopter that they given to the police, and it had all this like spy gear on it.
Okay, now that makes me wish I had watched it when I was a kid. That sounds awesome. But then I've always had a fascination with the Apache helicopter, so that sounds awesome.
Yeah, that one was actually good.
And Street Hawk would be another one, which was I watched some of that and regretted it.
I wouldn't know what that was if it wasn't for the
was,
Fun School G.I. Joe line having a Street Hawk figure in it. I wouldn't have known what that was.
Yeah, I'd love to have the A-Team van. I'd love to have, I know some of those do exist, but I'd love to have, that'd be a cool thing for a company to do, to get those licenses and make 3 3/4 inch scale vehicles for all of those big 80s movies or big 80s TV shows and movies. Because yeah, I think that would be fun. It just make them affordable. Be the only thing I
yeah, that's the other thing is affordability, because again, Hasbro makes good decisions, and most of the stuff they're making now is not for mass consumption the way it should be.
Yeah, they're definitely aiming at the collector's market.
Yeah, and HasLab is just that's a never-ending parade of what were you thinking? Why are people giving money to that?
Like the one-to-one scale Cookie Monster that didn't get funded.
That never got funded. The sail barge that blew up to such a size, people that ordered it overseas couldn't get it anymore.
Oh, really?
It could not be. That's why Michael French went to Australia, because after all the add-ons got added to the size and weight of the box, no shipping company said yes.
Oh,
so
wow.
The guy could not get the thing to Australia.
Huh, I didn't know that.
And then the Mandalorian ship.
Yeah.
I said, okay. And I was like, okay, so there's absolutely no point in buying this, because now we know that the ship is going to be destroyed, because everything they make gets destroyed.
Yeah.
And the next week, that's what happened on the show, and I could not stop laughing.
Yeah.
And then there was the carbon freeze chamber that cost $50. You only got half of it, and they literally said, if you want the whole set, get 2.
Really?
Yeah,
they did the same thing with that hallway from the Tanta V4.
Yeah, they literally said, you're gonna give us $100.
Yeah, it's a wall and half a floor.
Yeah,
and the doorway. And if you want the whole hallway, you buy another one and you connect it to the other end. So you've got the 2 doorways and the whole floor and 2 walls.
Literally said, you're gonna buy 2 and you're gonna thank us for it.
And they pack in figures that you can't get otherwise.
Right. That's me.
Because I think the Tanta V4 has the hallway. Tanta V4. No, it's a fucking corridor. And it comes with the Rebel Trooper, like an brand new sculpt Rebel Trooper, head to toe. And you can't get him without buying the hallway.
I think you can get him from Smith Lord.
But, because somebody's trying to help out. Because
I'm gonna have to look that up, because I'm not familiar with that.
What's that?
I'm gonna have to look up that Smith Lord. I'm not familiar with that.
Yeah, Smith Lord Creations. It was owned by a guy whose last name was Smith, and he got a partner, and then something happened, and he backed out. So now it's the partner that owns Smith Lord Creations.
Stan Solo, I think.
Stan Solo, that's it. Yeah.
He's well, and then there's that other group, Pro Custom Figures. They're professionally they're factory produced.
Really?
Customs. They're custom designed, factory produced vintage Star Wars figures, like figures we didn't. Hang I've got.
Yeah, and Smith Lord did a big push to make a bantha that would fit your 3 3/4 inch figures. And then when I don't know what happened, but when Smith Lord actual pulled out, it's just kind of fallen off and nobody knows what's going on with it.
Okay. I think I might have seen the pictures of that bantha.
There it is. Fansstrikeback.com.
All right. Yes. Yeah, I'll have to take a look at that later.
I'm still waiting on my carded set of 13 vintage unreleased figures.
There we go.
Really? Yeah, that's.
And we're not getting many updates, and I don't know when it's
Coming from Pro Custom Figures.
Huh.
They designed a Rebel Fleet Trooper, and it's an all new sculpt from top to bottom. And yeah, they mass produced them. I've got 2 of them.
Huh. Okay.
Because Pro Custom Figures, they're also making they're also designing. Yeah, right now he's working on General Dodonna and Wedge Antilles and I think Captain Antilles to go with these guys.
Okay.
So and a couple of the other pilots like Biggs and
I was gonna ask if they're Biggs figure or not.
Yeah. So I mean it's pretty cool. I like what these guys are doing. They're not particularly affordable for me, but I love these guys. I had to get a couple of them. At some point, well, I'm probably gonna need Captain Antilles now too. But
yeah, if Smith Lord, if Fan Strikes Back would ever figure out what's going on, the set of 13 that they're offering would be great because it's got Antilles, a Rebel Trooper, and
it's got Aunt Beru and Uncle Owen.
Yeah.
Oh wow. Okay.
Because for whatever the fuck reason, they never got vintage figures. Grand Moff Tarkin never got a vintage figure either.
Han Solo and a Stormtrooper with an appropriate sized head.
Yeah, because for some reason in the 1985 series, Luke got the Stormtrooper gear figure, but Han didn't. What? Why? That's dumb. And never mind that Luke and Stormtrooper figure sucks. But
yeah, but he's got Biggs and Wedge and General what's his name that gets choked in the conference room.
Admiral Mahdi.
Yeah.
Admiral Conan Antonio Mahdi.
Admiral or General? Nah, it doesn't matter. But yeah, if those were ever to, I have no idea what's going on with them, and I really wish they would let us know because that's a lot of money that I'm waiting to get back in figures.
I almost invested. I did not. I'm glad.
Yeah.
Pro Custom Figures had these guys available at the beginning of the year. I'm like, all right, I'm just going to get 2 of those. So, all right, there's something that we forgot to do at the top of the show that we were supposed to do. Brian, you made a figure for him. He was supposed to unbox it. We were supposed to show it off.
I did. I was just going to segue into that since we're talking about customs.
Can you move this part to the beginning of the show so we don't look completely incompetent?
No,
which we are, but I want to pretend that we're not.
No, I was kind of saving it for this.
No, this was supposed to. I think it was supposed to be the first thing we did.
Was it?
Yeah, we talked about that. Yeah, he's like, yeah, we're gonna have him on the show. We're gonna, yeah, because you said it. I don't know, last week or the week before when he agreed to be on. He's like, yeah, we'll start the show. He'll unbox his custom that I made for him, and
we
didn't do that.
Follow our own plans, so.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's not like we're great with the preparation. So,
all right, we ready?
Bet.
Keep some addresses covered up here.
Yeah. OPSEC here.
Yeah.
Remember having to do that when we were in Afghanistan, make sure anything that was addressed to us got thrown away or burned.
they never said a word to me about that as far as mail.
Really?
And it never occurred to me either until I'm out in a village and I see my address on the wall of somebody's little hut, their little hooch, whatever they're living in, because they're using the cardboard they get out of the trash for insulation.
Gotcha.
Awkward.
Yeah, no kidding, right?
All right.
So the story behind this is John requested a commission from me. So he sent me a picture of, were you contracting at the time, I'm guessing?
Yes.
Contracting as a private security in Afghanistan, and wanted a commission figure of himself, a self-custom. So that's what I did.
He's got midfoot holes. That's nice. Let's see here.
I like the dual camera thing, man. Just you're like 10 levels ahead of us on the zoom here.
Yeah, well, we're technological morons, and we don't know how to do these things.
I didn't even know it did this.
Neither did I. I've never seen it before.
Are you guys using OBS at all?
I don't even know what it is.
I have no idea what that even means. So
use Google OBS. It's a streaming software. Yeah, that's how I'm putting it all together. I'll send you. Well, you don't really need a link, but the dashboard for it. I'm not even looking at Zoom. I'm looking at the dashboard right now.
Okay.
And yeah, and that's where all the filters and compensation on the microphone as well as the video comes from.
Nice.
Yeah, we know nothing about this stuff.
Then you start your virtual camera, and then when you open up Zoom, you choose the virtual camera instead of your laptop or webcam or whatever.
Okay.
Pretty nice little setup.
No kidding.
All right, here we go.
So yeah, hat's removable. It's got a water slide decal on it that says medic. I don't know, some of that got a little, a couple of the decals got a little too dark, unfortunately, because you can't really see the Mandalorian. He's got a Mandalorian morale patch on the center of the plate carrier, and it got a little too dark.
Focus. There we go.
That is super, super cool. Huh. Yeah. So, John, you're pretty happy with that custom, I'm guessing?
Absolutely.
Yeah, Brian does pretty good work. He's decent. He's a decent artist.
He's even got my tattoos on it. He had to pick and choose, like he said.
Yeah.
So the tattoos that are both on my right arm are now on my right and left arm.
Yeah. I thought about that after I did it. I'm like, shit, that was on one arm. But yeah, I had to kind of pick and choose. If I tried to do them all, it wouldn't look good.
Oh yeah, it's too small and my arms are just way too busy.
Yeah, but so to do that tattoo that's on his right arm, the one we're looking at right there, I took a bunch of different stuff. He sent me a picture of it, and I took a bunch of different stuff, and I redesigned it basically in Photoshop. So I mean, it's not his tattoo exactly, but it's like I came up with the tattoo that's on there based on.
Say it's the essence of it.
Yeah, which I'm really proud of because it turned out really nice, and it's really close to what he has on his arm.
Well, when he was unboxing the figure and we saw his hand, he's got a 7-Up logo on his hand. I don't know why you didn't paint that on the figure's hand. That's disappointing, sir.
I thought about it. But I don't think I could have gotten it. And then
I think you could have.
His left arm, he's got a nuclear explosion tattoo, which is just something I pulled out of a Google image and then kind of resized for the tattoo. I had a hell of a time with that tattoo. on his left arm. So I print up 2 copies in case I screw up the first one, and I screwed up both of them. So I had to reprint them, and I printed 3 of them. And I think that is so that's number 4 that's on his arm there. So I screwed up that tattoo 3 times trying to put that thing on. I was using, there's 2 different kinds of soft decal softener, and I was using the one that's softens it up a lot to make it form fit to regular surfaces, and it was making it bubble up.
Oh God, it's annoying.
Yeah, so lesson learned on that. I didn't need the one that really softens stuff up. I just need the one that softens it up just enough to get it to form fit. So yeah,
take the head off.
Yeah, you'll have to pop the head off to get the.
Oh, maybe not. Okay. What the hell do we know? Shit.
So yeah, the plate carrier is completely redesigned from Marauder Task Force plate carrier. I used that as a base, but
I'm gonna ask if this is Marauder stuff.
Yeah, it's a Marauder Task Force body. The head is a cast of Voltar from the
convention set with the Iron Grenadiers.
Yeah, it was a convention. So one of my followers on my customizing page sent me a bag full of heads, cast up heads, and that was in there, and I was like, oh, that'd be perfect. Yeah, there you go.
That's the original head. That's what it originally looked like.
Nice.
Because when Brian sent me the work in progress picture of that, I'm like, oh, is that Voltar's head? He's like, I don't know. It was a cast. I'm like, I think it is. So I pulled out Voltar, and I'm like, yep. But the way you painted it, you wouldn't know. No. I just happen to be a nerd, and I recognize the parts like that. But yeah, you totally disguised it. I wouldn't have realized that was his head. So
the pistol's removable from the sheath. I was going to give him a Glock like you. I actually have it sitting here, but the Glock the frame is too small to stay in the holster, unfortunately.
Okay. So
I did actually have a Glock here. Yeah, it's right here. Oh no, that isn't it. Anyway, I had a Glock for him, and I didn't give it to him because it would not stay in the sheath. So I had to give him a different pistol. But tried to make it as close to the picture as I could. It's got a different plate carrier than the standard like Marauder Task Force. I trimmed it down because your plate carrier that you have is a little smaller than.
Yeah, it was a tactical Taylor Rhodesian.
Okay.
So I didn't have the big back piece or the cummerbund.
Right.
Just this cummerbund piece in the top.
Gotcha. And without seeing the back, I couldn't.
Yeah, but no, they had this one we could use. I just opted not to because I'm pretty big to begin with, and when you put this on, it's hard for me to get in and out of the vehicle easily.
Gotcha.
So I just went and got the tactical Taylor Rhodesian that was in the picture, which is just the straps and the magazine pouches. No, this is great.
Yeah, I'm glad that you like it, man. I'm really happy with how that turned out. You would have had it a little sooner, but I was putting off doing the water slide decals. It was JD that he's like, finish it already.
Like, finish it, dude. You're going back to work. I was gonna say you'll be on duty for 2 days, and then he might not get it before we do the podcast. And as it was, he was off last week. He's like, dude, we got to reschedule him on the podcast. I can't have it to him. I'm like, that was I'm like, dude, he's on next weekend. He's like, oh, I'm like, yeah, get that over with before we do end up having to reschedule him. So I mean, John, obviously you're probably not going to talk about the operations you did over there as a security contra, but how long did you do that for? How'd you like, how'd you get into it in the first place? Again, I'm not asking for detail. I'm just curious how that works. I've never talked to, I've never actually talked to somebody who's done private security contracting, so I'm just curious.
Yeah, I did QRF and PSD from 09 to 2014. 2014, I went to Africa with World Health Organization and CDC. And then end of 2015 and 2016, I went back to Afghanistan as a WIPS contractor for the State Department. As far as getting the first job, I was burnt out on an ambulance. And
Brian understands that part.
Yeah. A lot of my friends had already been to Afghanistan or Iraq, and it was very hard for me to talk to them. I said, well, if I go, I'll be able to talk to my friends again. So I went and talked to a few people, and they said, yeah, you're not going to go as a member of the military, but have you thought about contracting? I said, what's contracting? And they started chuckling and gave me some emails and said, send these people your resume. So I sent out my resume to 5 companies, and the first email I got back was within 3 hours that said, do you have a passport and can you deploy next week?
Wow, that was a quick turnaround.
Yeah, that turned out to be a less than reputable company owned by the second vice president of Afghanistan's brother and run by South Africans.
Yeah. So that didn't go quite the way you were hoping for.
No, I smuggled myself out of Afghanistan halfway through that contract.
Oh man.
Literally gave the septic truck driver a $20 bill to take me over to the airport. And I said, hey, you got a plane leaving today? And that's how I got home from that one.
Man, you really wanted out.
Well, yeah.
When I was in Africa, man. Overstayed my visa in Sierra Leone the first time. I had to bribe somebody to let me get on the plane out.
Yeah. Lost my focus. Yeah, I never Sierra Leone I wanted to go to, but they sent me to Liberia instead. And once you go to Liberia, you can't go to Sierra Leone.
Really?
Yeah.
Why?
That's a Sierra Leone rule.
Huh. Why? I went to Sierra Leone first.
So. I mean, I don't know. I know nothing about these, but I've never, other than going to Canada, which is literally 5 minutes. I'm 5 minutes from the border, other than going as far up as Toronto, which is an hour away, and going to Mexico when I was an itty bitty baby, because my parents lived in El Paso where I was born. So they went to Mexico once or twice when I was a baby. I've never been outside the US, so I know nothing. So
yeah, Sierra Leone is pretty close to a first world country. Pretty close.
Yeah, not where I was at.
Well, compared to Liberia and Equatorial Guinea and Ghana and all the ones I went to, I wish I had gone to Sierra Leone.
I always get a kick when you and I are talking, because it's like we've been to all of the same countries. It's like in Equatorial.
Yeah, we were like down the street from each other for most of it.
Yeah. I think
I've sat behind a desk you sat behind, and I looked up. I was like, wait, oh shit, you filled out that report 3 years ago. That's nice.
Oh, that's weird. Okay. That's weird. So you all were both in Afghanistan at the same time, just not doing the same job at that time.
I was in Afghanistan 2008 to 2010.
I was there from 09 to 14, and then 15 and 16.
So yes.
So
were you ever
both
in 2009 or 10?
I'm sorry, what was that?
Were you in Kabul in 2009 or 2010 at any point?
Nope. I was I was up in Kunduz, Mazar-e Sharif, and adjoining locations.
Gotcha. Yeah, no, I was curious because it would have been funny to know that we were like on the same base at the same point in time and just not.
Were you at Eggers or Phoenix or?
I was mostly at Phoenix, but I did fill in for the guys at Eggers.
Right on. Yeah, I got to go over to Phoenix every now and then. I only got to go to Eggers once. Phoenix, that was a weird place. It was almost as surreal as Bagram.
It's huge.
Yeah, and I was out. I was not in a base. For most of it, and then I'd come back and I'm looking around, I was like, why is there fucking Burger King over here?
Right.
we can get Domino's here. What's going on?
Yeah, no, it was crazy. Some of this, it's like every time that I get constipated, I go get ice cream from Dairy Queen because I used goat's milk. And
Yeah. Well, that and it would freeze and thaw and freeze and thaw. And God only knows what kind of bacteria you're putting in yourself.
Well, hey, you're healthier for it.
But yeah,
Same with the barbecue on Bagram, that little barbecue joint on Bagram. I never got away clean out of there.
I don't think I ate. I think I ate. I think I ate in there once, and that was enough for me.
Yeah.
I went to Popeyes or the Burger King.
Yeah.
But
I went into the Subway one time.
Ooh, yeah. No.
I'm gonna get a Diet Coke and leave. Thanks.
Yeah.
I can smell the rotten ham in here. Thank you.
Oh God. Oh God. Oh God. Oh no.
Yeah.
Okay.
I know.
Yeah.
Subway, God, Rocket City down south. I don't remember what base that was. Fire base Salerno. It was Salerno that had one. And I went in there and I did the same thing. I took one whiff, looked around like, I'm not hungry. I just came to see. I would just get a taste of home being in.
Yeah. I got an MRE back in my rack. I think I'm good.
Yeah. Been in Equatorial Guinea more times than I can count. I've been in Sierra Leone, Liberia twice, and Ghana a bunch of times.
Yeah.
We're in Ukraine.
Liberia is where I ate my first monkey.
Ooh, yeah.
Oh, wait. What?
We went out into the bush to build a Ebola treatment center, and that's what they had. So that's what I ate.
Thanks.
Okay. I'm just thinking of that scene in Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom.
Oh, no.
They've got the monkey
sure, no
brain.
problem. Just cook it a lot longer than usual, please.
Yeah.
I
think the weirdest thing I had, and it's not that weird it is to like people at home, but when you talk to people that have contracted, they're like, yeah, that's not a big thing, is goat. We had,
it's actually really good. Yeah.
Actually it is. It was a little greasy, but they weren't feeding us much in Sierra Leone. So a bunch of us went in and bought a goat from a local to feed us.
The locals working with us up in northern Afghanistan, their wives and moms would bring us rice and goat.
Yeah, my interpreter would bring, his mom would make us lamb and rice and bread.
Interpreter's mom, we shut down the ECP one day because she brought us goat's milk cream cheese she had just made, mixed with honey and naan bread. We shut the ACP down and ate every bit of it. That was a good day.
These are the kind of conversations Brian and I can't have on this podcast since I've never left the States. So this is a fascinating look into places that, because I know where he was, but I don't always know what he was doing over there. And because I can't relate to it, it's completely out of context for me. I don't know how to ask questions like this, because when I think of food, I think of the food that I've got here. And I'm like, well, that's different. So
the monkey was not the strangest meal I've had. That would have been the barracuda.
Oh, okay.
That I was served the face of in Liberia.
Really?
Wait, what?
Yeah, no, I've had tuna collar before, and I thought that's what they were going to bring me, was the pretty much the neck of the fish.
Oh.
No, they brought me like its cheeks and neck.
I mean that's the weird thing, man, is like it was Liberia as well. Where I was at, they had one line for the expats and one line for the locals, and I was looking at the stuff they're having for the locals, and one day it was a stew made from heads and tails of fishes.
But you're not supposed to eat that, I thought. Not the tail part, right?
It's amazing what you've been told you can't eat, but is actually quite edible.
Yeah.
I guess. I don't.
But that was the place that I couldn't. That's the reason I don't like curry anymore, because everybody that was on that project was South African, so it was curry 3 meals a day for a month and a half.
Those aren't curries.
I'm so sheltered.
Those are not curries.
Well, I thought it was curry.
Well, first of all, they're curries, not curries.
There you go.
And I'm sure one of them, a mutual friend, is going to watch that. Sorry for the pronunciation, but he knows we're right. That's not real curry.
You're talking about Neil, I'm assuming.
Neil or Ernst or yeah,
because I think he's a G.I. Joe fan too.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, to this day I'd smell curry and I'm like, nope, can't do it.
Yeah, I almost took a job on a ship doing ship security, maritime security, until I found out that I was going to be the only, I was going to be one of two Westerners, and it was going to be a Korean ship.
Ooh.
And I should probably try and take as much food as possible because you'll be eating with the crew. And I thought for a second, I said, oh, that's a lot of kimchi and fish heads. No, sorry, I can't go.
Yeah, no, I would not do that. And
I'm sure one or two meals would have been fine, but after that third meal, I'm sick of rotten cabbage and fish heads.
Yeah, no, I did a maritime thing for a month to find out that I get seasick real easily. And luckily it wasn't as bad as that. But yeah, we had Portuguese, or no, not Portuguese, Filipino cooks.
Ooh.
Yeah.
See, that could go either way. Filipino cooks would go either way, really good or really bad.
Yeah, they were pretty good. It wasn't as bad as Kurdistan. We had Egyptians, and I had lukewarm spaghetti one time, and I'm like, I'm gonna regret this. Shit, about an hour later. So I ate.
Everybody out.
Yep, 2 exits. Everybody out. No waiting. And yeah, so I ate apples and rice for a month.
Yeah.
Until I got out of there.
I got when COVID first kicked off, they put me on one of the deadliest catch boats.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And you only see like the people that work on the deck. You don't see the other 100 people that work below decks processing the fish.
Yeah.
Wait, Deadliest Catch is in like the TV show?
Yeah.
Okay.
And they were all third country nationals, and as were the cooks. And that was some of the best food that I hope I never have to eat again in my life. So we've got spaghetti, but the Mexican cook and his Filipino assistants don't know what Italian food is. So let's see what comes out of the kitchen. It was never boring. I just don't ever want to eat it again.
I am.
That's why I don't eat curry anymore. Is that time in Liberia? It wasn't bad. Curry, it wasn't bad, but man, just 3 meals a day. It's like I can't do it anymore. I just can't.
Yeah.
I didn't eat for a long time after I got back from Kurdistan because it's like, no, I had that for 3 meals every day for a month.
I remember getting in Afghanistan, we were out with the tribe, and I remember they told me it was a Persian delicacy. I was like, okay, great. I like Persian food. I like well-prepared delicacies. Let's see what you got.
What was it?
Hand it to me. It looked like a fucking Hot Pocket. And
what was actually in it?
It was a kind of a barbecued goat. It was actually quite tasty.
It looked like a Hot Pocket.
I just wish the guy that made it had washed his hands in the last year. Same deal. An hour later, I was shitting through a screen door at 50 feet.
Yeah, I had a few of those as well. I remember we had a porta potty right outside our clinic.
They're never close enough though.
No, yeah. Well, mine was close enough because it's just like right outside. I remember taking a shit in that thing in the middle of July, and it's like shitting in an easy bake oven. Horrible.
Oh,
French camp right next to us had air conditioned toilets. So from then on, we would like sneak into the French camp to use their toilets. And then we would call it, we're going to go carpet bomb the French.
Nice.
Yeah.
I was in Memphis doing an oil and gas contract, and the BP marathon representative I was working for, health and safety guy, was a first sergeant and ranger.
Nice.
the day the porta potty showed up, he came. They were doing the tailgate meeting, and he's like, and the porta potties just here in case anybody needs to use them. And I kind of under my breath, not thinking he's going to hear me, said, I can't do that anymore. And he looked at me and said, why can't you use a porta potty? It's like, oh, sorry. I just get way too excited. He could not stop laughing for the tailgate meeting was just done because he could not stop laughing. He's like, there is nobody else here that's going to understand that joke. And you had to say it loud enough for me to hear. Like, absolutely, Zartan. I had to say it loud enough for you to hear.
You're a guy who's got no context for it.
Yeah.
I just think it's funny because you happen to know the one guy that would get what you just said. Like, what are the odds that you run into somebody that knew exactly what the hell you were talking about?
I know a female medic who got her expert field medical badge without ever going into the field because of what happened in a porta potty.
Oh man.
I know I have several of those stories. Yeah. The amount of things that go down in a porta potty, quite frightening when you add soldiers into the mix.
Yeah. And
it's also the only place you can actually have privacy, which leads to self-abuse more times than not. So I get too excited joke just goes off in all kind of weird directions for someone that has the same experience.
You can always tell because there was footprints on the seat.
Yes. Yeah.
Ew.
Yeah.
Ew.
Yeah.
Ew.
Let's see, what else do we got?
Where the hell do we go from that? I don't know.
I don't. So I guess kind of steer this back on track here, right?
Sure.
Couple of questions that we always try and ask our guests are: who is your favorite G.I. Joe character?
That would be Outback.
And is it your favorite figure as well?
No, my favorite figure, there were two, Tripwire and Torpedo. They went everywhere.
Oh, there we go.
Oh my God, here we go. Fucking Tripwire. God, fucking Tripwire. Stupid figure, stupid character.
Well, it was him.
Tripwire
It was him and
so
Torpedo. They went everywhere with me. I didn't get an Outback until a year after his release in '88.
Gotcha.
So,
Torpedo was my first figure. So
Outback was?
What's that?
Outback was?
No, Torpedo.
Oh, okay.
So Torpedo is my favorite, definitely my favorite character. It's what got me into the seals. That's why that's the reason I make all my seal customs. I have a vintage Torpedo. And yeah, it's my favorite character and one of my favorite figures for sure.
Oh, actually, let me go get that. Yeah. What's your next question while I go grab that?
Favorite vehicle.
Torpedo, Tripwire. Goddamn, Tripwire. Come on.
Love it.
Really
a Tripwire fan, and that was my first three figures were Torpedo, Tripwire, and Snow Job. And I had a Polar Battle Bear. That was the only vehicle I had. So it was those three on the Polar Battle Bear all the time.
I would have just kept running Tripwire over with the Polar Battle Bear over and over and over again. Tripwire. I didn't like that. I didn't like him when I was a kid. He's the worst.
Why have you got so much hate for Tripwire?
He is the worst.
How is he the worst?
I hate the character. Like, I'm like, the fumbling around thing is fine, whatever, except when he's got the explode, that's fine. But he's just you combine the terrible characterization with the figure, and I'm just like, no. Basically, I can't stand the Transformers character Wheelie. And it's because Tripwire and Wheelie are pretty much the same character. Yeah, no, they're the worst. And his file name is Tormod Skoog, and I can't get past that. That's awful. I just no.
Well,
I don't like any version of Tripwire. He's been repainted numerous times. I don't like any version of him, except maybe the Fun School version, but that was purple and orange. It said Bomb Squad on it. So I like it more as a novelty than an actual figure. That Tripwire would have been cool if the Star Brigade version had ever come out, because that was pretty badass looking.
I don't remember that, seeing the stuff.
No. I've got a picture of it on my phone. At the 2018 convention in Chattanooga, I went over to G.I. Joe Declassified's booth, and they had a bunch of sketches and a bunch of like 2-up prototypes for figures that had never come out. And the Star Brigade Tripwire was one of them.
Huh.
I will find the picture. It's on my phone.
Yeah, there we go.
Well, yeah, Tripwire and Torpedo were my favorites. They're the ones that I never lost for some reason.
Gotcha. Yeah,
they went everywhere with me.
I was telling JD that Tripwire and Torpedo were my first two Joes.
Torpedo was one of my first. Well, he was one of my first after the initial.
Torpedo baffled me when I was a kid, because in the comics he was always wearing all of his scuba gear, even on land.
Yeah, so his first appearance in the comic books is horrible.
He's wearing the goggles and the flippers on land, and I'm just like, I don't know. I didn't understand him.
Nice.
Torpedo demands full speed ahead.
And with Snow Job, there you go. See, Torpedo, Snow Job, and Tripwire are my first 3 G.I. Joe figures. So I got a soft spot for those 3.
I don't even remember where I got these 91 trading cards, but yeah, there they are.
Nice.
I only bought it because Torpedo was sitting right on top. If he hadn't been on top, I wouldn't have even looked at him.
Sweet. Yeah, no, I've got my vintage one here somewhere. I don't think I have the right flippers for him. I think I have. Didn't he come with gray flippers?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I've got.
Those are dark gray.
Yeah, these. I think these are eels.
Yeah, those are eel. Yeah, those are eel flippers. Because his gray matched the rest of his diving suit.
I didn't realize that until now.
Oh yeah, they were a different mold too, I think.
They were. Yep, there you go. He's got him.
Yeah.
Oh,
the flashlight that came with the accessory pack, wetsuit.
Yeah.
The favorite vehicle would be the Ostriker.
All right, that's a good choice.
Because it's the actual vehicle that actually exists that I never got to drive.
Oh yeah, it's pretty close to like a Chenoweth.
They had a suspension.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. I remember getting that. That was, I think, my first vehicle that had a suspension in it. Nice. Where are you getting those figure stands? I like those figure stands.
I found them on eBay, looking for the camouflage that was in the Rise of Cobra movie.
Ah, okay.
And nobody makes that, obviously, because it was a horrible movie and nobody wants to remember it. Nobody makes that cloth with that pattern, but there's a guy on eBay. It wasn't Yojo Outlet, but I can't remember who it was that makes that figure stand.
I like that.
That's cool. Yeah, that's super. Because I like the logo. I like the eagle logo with the star. I mean, the logo as a team logo, it was really cool.
The camouflage was actually interesting, and I wanted some of the fabric just to be able to look at it better than,
Yeah, because the Rise of Cobra figures that were wearing the camo, it didn't match the camo that they were wearing in the movie.
I can't watch 2x4s on screen long enough to get a good look at the camouflage in the movie anyway. So
Brian, if you look at your phone, I texted you the picture. At the bottom of the picture are they're 2-up versions of a bunch of the head sculpts that they made. Like they're 2 inches tall. And then if you look at the top of the picture and you zoom in, the guy with the spiky shoulders, that's Tripwire. That's Star Brigade Tripwire.
In between the Budo and the Astro Viper?
Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
Yep, that's Star Brigade tripwire. And I really wish that figure had come to fruition, because that would have been the first cool version of tripwire.
I'll have to drop that picture in the show.
Yeah, I thought, and I mean, it's interesting to see all the 2-up head sculpts and everything, to see how some of them changed once they were made to scale, and then how some of them, yeah, were virtually reproduced when they were made in the smaller scale. But yeah, it's pretty interesting. It's one of the few pictures because I was getting some pictures of the booth, and then they were asking people not to take pictures because they used to travel around. Joe Declassified used to travel to all the conventions, and they used to want to, and they always wanted something new to show off. And they figured if the pictures were all over online, then they'd have, so I mean, I got that, I understood, but I got that picture before that and the Sea Slug prototype that they did, where he had a much bigger image on his. I'll send that one to you too. But yeah, it's pretty cool. So.
Well, I'm glad you like that custom, man. That turned out. I'm happy.
Absolutely, I'm very happy with it. Yeah, you did a great job.
And the paint should be durable enough for like posing. I wouldn't take it out in the backyard and strap an M80 to it or anything.
Yeah, no. It's still just a little tacky, so I'm just going to leave it be. I'm going to put it in the case with all the oxygen absorber I got in there and just leave it be for a while.
Yeah, that's the sealant.
Yeah.
I sealed it a couple of times. So I sealed it after I painted it, then did the tattoos, and then sealed it again.
Nice.
And then did the joint, repositioned the joints, painted those, and sealed it again. So it's actually probably got 3 layers of sealant on it. I tried to make it as bulletproof as I could. Nice. I don't usually do that with my customs because like this wall right behind me here.
Yeah.
That wall, those are all carded customs. So that's how I display my customs. Is I put them on a card to make it look like it was like I got it at retail.
Right,
so
right.
I don't position my stuff a lot. So a lot of times I'll kind of cut corners on, I won't paint the inside of joints, or I won't make the paint thick enough so it'll, or resilient enough so it'll won't chip if you move the arms, because I'm gonna just put it on my wall. But anybody that gets a commission from me that isn't going to want it carded, I try and make it as bulletproof as I can. And if you got paint rubs, if you get paint chips, just let me know, send it back to me, and I don't ever charge to do touch-ups.
Oh, nice, bro.
So as long as you have it, send it to me, and I do touch-ups for free.
Awesome.
But yeah, no, and I think we're probably about out at an hour. Actually, probably a little over that.
We're almost at 2 hours.
All right, yeah. So
just the 2 questions then?
Actually, no, I want to know, we usually ask, who's your favorite Cobra? I know it's not your favorite, but if you had a favorite Cobra.
Oh, that'd be the
character Baron. Or trooper, I don't.
The Baroness.
Baroness, that's a good one. And like Grail. So like if you had, everybody's got that one G.I. Joe thing that's either too expensive, too big, or just not been able to find one. What would your Grail item be?
I want to say the mail away APC, since it was all olive drab.
Oh, that's a good choice.
But I'm going to have to get Dallas Vintage Toys right now has for sale on their website a carded 9-back 82 straight arm Snake Eyes for $5,000.
Holy crap.
The Holy Grail would to go back in time and bought that when it was 1,000.
Yeah. Carded 9-back. Oh yeah. All right. There you go. That's a good choice too.
Still has the service merchandise price sticker on it for like a $2.99, $1.99, something like that.
Wait, service merchandise. That's one I haven't heard of.
Wow. Yeah, there's a blast from the past.
I forgot they carried Joe's way back then.
They had a toy section. It was a lot like Target is now. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I remember that. Now that you mention it. Crap, where was that? It must have been here in Colorado Springs when I was living in Canyon City. I don't think. Huh.
Over here, there's one. It was freestanding next to Cumberland Mall that we would go to all the time.
Nice.
John, where are you located at?
I'm in Georgia, about 40
Okay.
miles west of Atlanta.
Okay. Yeah, because earlier you had mentioned Valdosta, so I didn't know if you were still.
Yeah. That's where my mother's side of the family is from.
You're pretty close to the Joe Fest convention that goes on every year, just so you know.
Yes, I'm usually out of town for it.
Yeah. Sounds familiar.
Yeah, I used to work Dragon Con and MomoCon and a couple of the other cons. I never worked at Joe Con, but I knew of it, just never went to it. And now that I'm in a position financially and whatnot that I can go to it, I'm never in town when it's happening.
Yep. Sounds familiar. We're gonna try and go to Joe Fest next year.
Okay.
It's in Georgia too, so definitely gonna try and hit that next year.
Yeah.
Let's see. So we got Grail, we got favorite GI Joe. Forgot character. You got any other questions, JD?
Yeah, your position on Tiger Force, yay or nay?
Everything after 1987, I am going to be, if it has a neon or pastel color on it, or
Blowtorch was obnoxious, and he was from 1984.
I love Blowtorch.
Yes, and I've already said Blowtorch was the first step out of reality.
Yes.
But it didn't really. It did. 87 is when the neon, what's his name, showed up. The glow in the dark guy. That was it for me. So Outback was one of the last of the newer figures that I bought. Tiger Force, all the ninja stuff. I don't know what they had, a ninja, then they had Quick Kick, and then all of a sudden there were 17 ninjas.
Right. Yes.
Yeah. Because
in 91, 92, when ninjas were, but well, you know what Ninja Force was?
No, they were late. They were 10 years late.
Yeah.
That's what but absolutely crazy. Why are you trying to make money on ninjas after the ninja craze is over?
Well, it was an answer to the Power Rangers. That's why. It was they all the toy companies were trying to keep up with Power Rangers. So Ninja Force was in development, but like the idea was in development, but they got pushed through on production as an answer to the huge popularity, international popularity of the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. So
yeah.
So they were capitalizing on it basically. But you know, I
don't know. By 1992, I had discovered Nirvana, and I didn't much care for what was going on and other stuff based on the extracurricular activities that Kurt Cobain introduced me to.
Aha.
So it was around 91, 92 up until right after college. Then I started to look back at everything. Didn't understand any of it. It just more seemed like Hasbro bad choices. So I stopped paying attention again. And then in 2015, 16, when I got to a place financially where I could, and I had been removed enough from that inciting incident where I could mentally and emotionally cope with looking at all these again. That's when I got back into it. So I skipped over a lot of that and wasn't aware of it while it was going on. And then as I went back to it, I was like, well, the Hasbro is just dumb. Just like now, we're going to introduce this new line of toys, and they're going to be great. And everybody's going to want one. We're going to make 5, and then we're going to send them to Guam. Good luck.
Right. Yeah. No, the Hasbro's distribution is still something that drives me crazy to this day. I don't understand it. You see pictures of people posting stuff, and their Target or their Walmart is just overfilling with stuff, and then here it looks like
there's nothing in my Walmart here or Target.
There's nothing. Yeah, I was at Walmart today. There's nothing in the toy department at all.
Unless you want an unpopular wrestler from 5 years ago, there's no toys.
we don't even have those. There's nothing. The only GI Joe toys at Walmart this morning were those interactive Snake Eye swords from the movie.
Yeah.
And
nobody was buying because nobody
and the push button action Shang-Chi figures in the Marvel section. There's nothing. And there's some weird stretchy, like, I don't know, it's like Loki and Spider-Man or something. They're like little, they're like chubby figures, but they're like real stretchy, weird things. And I'm like, what is that? There's nothing Marvel Legends. There's no G.I. Joe. There's no Fortnite. There's no Halo. There's no Masters of the Universe, except for one He-Man that the package has been ripped open. Nothing's out of it. The package is just ripped open, but it's almost like it got ripped open, but nothing was taken out of it. I'm like, that's weird. So that's going to hang there for a while.
But want that toy.
But it's like there's nothing else. There's nothing in the toy department. And I'm like, this is weird. Oh, and there's like one Jurassic Park dinosaur. That's it. There's one. I'm like, why is that one dinosaur sitting here? It was sitting there 2 weeks ago when I was there too. There's nothing else. And I'm like,
kids don't go to the toy section anymore.
That's just
apparently.
In my brother-in-law, what toys my nephew plays with, and he's like, nothing. I think he's got a couple Hot Wheels, and that's it.
Yeah,
because it's all screen time now.
Yeah,
I was thinking about that. I was like at the Walmart here, and then went over to Target, and there's nothing. I'm like, this would have been so depressing as a child to walk in and see just completely, not even scavenged is not even a harsh enough word, but just like bare bones absent.
Yeah.
Toy aisles. When in the 80s you walked into a toy aisle and it was sensory overload.
Not just the toy aisle, KB toys and Lionel toys, and you'd walk in and you're right, literally overflowing, stacked to the ceiling with boxes of G.I. Joe and Star Wars and Sectars and micro machines and everything.
Yeah, and now it's
and Mask. I had a lot of Mask actually.
Another Mask fan.
Yeah. I don't know how much of a fan I was. I just remember having it. I think my brother was more of a fan than I was.
Gotcha. I still think they were fun toys. We're gonna do a Mask.
Oh no, they're great toys. And over-engineered all the hell and back. They were fascinating, but I didn't really like the cartoon. So
the cartoon, but that was one that I tried to watch a couple of months ago, and it did not hold. That was one of the other things that just like did not.
No, you think?
Yeah.
Like half the G.I. Joe cartoons don't really hold up either. But then you get to the one where Shipwreck has been kidnapped and he's living out like he's 20 years older, and the war with Cobra's dead, and has got a wife and a kid, and you're sitting there watching, realizing you've been sucked into a 40-year-old cartoon. The one right before it made absolutely no sense, and now this one has got a drama going on that is absolutely fascinating and enthralling, because
way above the level of the show. Yeah.
Who the hell is Paul Dini right there? What the hell is going on?
It's funny because I watched that one because isn't that the one that Cadet Deming is in?
Yes.
Yeah, I made a custom of that. So JD and I do a challenge every year. That was one of the figures that he challenged me to make, and that was the one I chose, and I made a custom of.
I'm gonna get it.
Yeah, Cadet Deming, and I'm like, Cadet Deming, who the fuck's Cadet Deming? And JD's like, what? Really? Go watch this one episode of G.I. Joe, and that's the one that you're talking about.
Yeah, and I hate Shipwreck, but I loved him in that.
Yeah, I hate Shipwreck too.
Yeah.
Yep. That was the challenge figure that I made for JD. That's all Marauder Task Force parts too.
Yeah.
All right, that's probably way over 2 hours now. So we try and keep it to shorter when we have guests on, just so people will watch it. I think if it gets too long, people won't watch it. But for this one, it was I really wanted just to sit down and chat with you.
I was saying, I wanted the conversation. So
absolutely, because
we definitely bounced around a lot. It was fun.
Yeah. So John, thanks for being on the show.
Yeah, thanks, man.
Thanks again for having me.
Oh, absolutely. And as always, people, please do that fun social media stuff. Like, share, subscribe, comment below. And thank you for watching.